Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the enduring legacy of an absolute fan favorite. We're tracking the one and only Nidoking. Honestly, the journey from an early route, basic critter to an actual VGC tournament champion is just so epic. Like, if a studio were to generate an anime video on Nidoking Pokémon, it would be an absolute blockbuster for sure. We're going to track how this monster went from completely dominating your childhood Game Boy runs to ruling competitive royalty to commanding some seriously massive prices in the high-value trading card market.
Okay, so here's our agenda for today. 1. The early game powerhouse. 2. Nidoking versus Nidoqueen. 3. The sheer force wall breaker. 4. A tournament-winning king. And 5. The high-value card market. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The early game powerhouse, dominating the early routes of Kanto. To really get why Nidoking is so incredibly popular, we have to look at how absurdly accessible it is for casual playthroughs, right? Especially in Fire Red and Leaf Green. You just catch a male Nidoran super early, train it up to level 16 so it evolves into Nidorino, and then boom, use the Moonstone from Mount Moon to evolve it into Nidoking. You get all of this before you even face Misty at the second gym. You're literally walking in with a massive base attack stat of 102 against opponents who are still tossing out like unevolved bugs and birds. It's kinda unfair, but we love it.
And that early evolution is just the start. The reason it's arguably the absolute best non-start in the game is its move pool. It's like a Swiss Army knife. You can teach this thing almost anything you need. Need a heavy-hitting physical earthquake? You got it. Need a special ice beam for perfect type coverage against Lance's Dragonites later on? No problem. Thunderbolt, Brick Break, Megahorn, Shadow Ball, it learns the whole shebang.
Section 2. Nidoking versus Nidoqueen. The Royal Rivalry. Now, as you get deeper into the game mechanics, a classic debate always pops up on the forums. Do you pick Nidoking or Nidoqueen? The deciding factor here is all about stat distribution. See, Nidoking sacrifices defense for raw speed and attacking power, making it this terrifying offensive wall breaker. Nidoqueen, she does the exact opposite. She's all about superior bulk and higher defenses, thriving as a defensive hazard setter, dropping toxic spikes. Same great poison and ground typing, completely different jobs.
But, while Nidoqueen has fantastic utility, competitive players really tend to lean toward the king. There's a great quote from Poké user Cordy Zoom that sums it up perfectly. They said, Nidoking is superior. This is because it is more concentrated into its side, that is offense. While Nidoqueen is a good wall, it is outclassed by many Pokémon like Weezing that do its job much better. Basically, Nidoqueen's defensive role is great, but dedicated walls outshine her. Nidoking's unique aggressive offense, way harder to replace.
Section 3. The sheer force wall breaker, redefining competitive viability. Okay, so let's talk about Smogon competitive viability, because everything absolutely changed when Nidoking was gifted the hidden ability, Sheer Force. This is a real game changer. It takes moves with extra effects, like a chance to poison or burn, and boosts their power by a massive 30%, but completely strips away that extra effect. But wait, here is the brilliant mechanical quirk. If you give a Sheer Force Pokémon the Life Orb item, which normally gives you another 30% damage boost, but drains 10% of your health every turn, Sheer Force actually cancels out that health penalty, so you're getting a free 60% damage boost with literally zero drawbacks.
Looking at its stats, that base 85 special attack seems, well, deceptively average, right? You'd think the 102 physical attack is the obvious play. Actually, scratch that. Because almost all of Nidoking's special moves have secondary effects that trigger Sheer Force, those multiplier mechanics kick in and transform that base 85 into the equivalent of a devastating base 126 special attack. It's wild. Because of that insane math, the Smogon competitive community just completely abandoned physical attacks on Nidoking. They went all in on an optimal special sweeper moveset: Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Flamethrower. This exact setup lets Nidoking basically nuke super sturdy threats. We're talking Skarmory, bulky fairy types right off the board. You pretty much can't switch into this thing safely.
Section 4. A tournament-winning king, dominating the VGC Series 10 metagame. Taking this immense power from singles battles into the official VGC doubles format, Nidoking proved it could go toe-to-toe with literal legendary Pokémon. Competitive player Eeks built an incredible hyper-offense team and said, I came up with the idea of pairing him with Zacian since Nidoking pretty much obliterates everything that Zacian wants to. I ended up bringing the team to a 55-man Series 10 ladder tournament, and we actually ended up winning the whole thing. And that Sludge Wave synergy they use is just top-tier competitive play.
In doubles, players are constantly using redirection tactics like Follow Me to protect their big threats, like Xerneas. But Nidoking's Sludge Wave? It's a spread move. It hits both opponents, and completely bypasses that redirection. Plus, because its partner Zacian is a Steel type, it's 100% immune to poison. So Nidoking is just freely dropping massive damage on the entire opposing team, while its legendary partner stands right there, completely unharmed. Talk about a perfect setup.
Section 5. The High-Value Card Market. Translating pixel power to real-world worth.
Finally, let's step out of the video games for a second. Nidoking's status as a first-generation icon hasn't just won tournaments. It has translated into some serious real-world value for trading card collectors. Pristine, vintage Nidoking cards are fetching hundreds of dollars right now. A first edition base set holo comes in around $360, and the Gym Challenge first edition sits at just over $200, mainly because those vintage pull rates were just ridiculously tough. But the true crown jewel? That would be the Aquapolis Secret Rare. In near-mint condition, this one piece of cardboard is valued at a staggering $600. This crazy price tag comes down to its 1 in 105 pack rarity. To put that into perspective, you'd have to open nearly 3 entire booster boxes of Aquapolis just to mathematically expect to find one.
So what does this all mean? From a super accessible level 16 Moonstone Evolution to a $600 secret rare card, all the way to a VGC tournament champion, Nidoking teaches us that with the right strategy, a synergistic hidden ability, and some creative team building, absolutely any Pokémon can rise to royalty. It really makes you wonder, what hidden potential is sitting overlooked in your own PC box right now, just waiting to be mastered? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and we'll see you in the next one.